Hooray indeed, and welcome back to the second game of the first series, NIP versus Burden United. We're into game 2, the draft has begun, and Draskell, I'm hoping for a little bit of a closer game than the first one, because it was, I mean, we keep saying this has been the biggest stomp, but I think that has been the biggest stomp.
Yeah, getting one kill and then GGing at what, 17 minutes?
17-minute GG, 17 kills against you.
It wasn't close. But, thankfully, NIP, I think the smart thing they've done so far in this draft is they've banned out the gyro. Now, they are still going to get their hands on a Wisp, but the reason why I think the gyrocopter ban is smart is because when they were laning previously, they see the Wisp, they automatically gravitate towards what I thought as well, which is they're going to pick a Tiny, they're going to pick like a CK, they're going to pick a melee hero who partners with the Wisp. But if you take away the range pairing of the gyro and the Wisp, then if Burden do decide to go for a melee hero, then you can punish that lane a bit harder than what they were able to in game number 1. Whereas the gyro and the Wisp was pretty much ungankable. And they do the same thing that a Tiny Wisp does because you have Flat Cannon, you have Call Down, Rocket Barrage, you can just farm the jungle because they're Radiant side. And I think maybe giving away the Wisp to Radiant is maybe not the best idea. Like Dire Wisp is worse than Radiant Wisp because of dual laning mid, right? Okay. Because your camps are closer to the middle lane than they are on Dire. So maybe giving it up still isn't... If they think they can do it, that's fine. But I just feel like maybe it's still ban-worthy here. Maybe over the Witch Doctor at the very least. Because taking out the Witch Doctor and then letting Wisp through actually makes the Wisp an even better pick in addition to also being Radiant. So there's a lot at play here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what NIP open with. They're going to open with the Puck, which was, of course, banned against them by Burden in the first game. And to be honest, in the game that we saw NIP do really well in the other day, I believe that was the match when they did have Limp on his Puck. So yes. It's understandable that they'd want to get that one in first because Burden United almost certainly would have banned it out against them.
Yeah, the Puck is fantastic because no matter what you pair against it, it's very difficult to kill. And as long as you get to that level 6, you're always going to have the nice counter gank potential. I find Puck is... He obviously can be an initiator if you want him to be, but he's like the best counter initiator because his range is so long, the coil radius in itself is huge, and NIP, going with a hero that we have not seen in a very long time, at least here at the ASUS ROG DreamLeague and the Ogre Magi, very good against Wisp.
Yes,
at least during the laning phase.
If you get, in the laning phase and also towards the mid game, once you get those multicasts, you're going to be able to blow the IO up. I mean, picking it up second into a draft, I guess it's one of those heroes that you don't really do much in reaction to. It doesn't really force Burden United to really change what they would have done initially.
Yeah, he's just he's like a meat shield. Yeah. He walks into things, he hits them with a club, and he throws out a couple of stuns. Late game, he also offers Bloodlust, which is fantastic. If RNG is on your side, he can be a pretty substantial damage threat for any hero who doesn't have BKB. And Burden, they're going to follow suit here with the tankiness. They're going to go ahead and pick up a Bristleback, so maybe leaning more away from the dual lane mid this game and looking to maybe pressure the safe lane of NIP.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if they do want up to on the safe lane Bristol, I guess as well they could also run it in the off lane, depending on the lanes of NIP, how they want to go against the cores. Depending what era is going to be playing on, if they're going to be able to punish him in the laning stage. Third ban now for the side of NIP, so I guess they can be a little less worried of potentials like the Tiny, other heroes that might be matched up with the IO, because Bristleback's been pulled out, and that's going to opt towards the more likelihood that there's not going to be a Tiny. I mean, do you think they pick up the Mirana Bane again? It was very strong. They're not going to because NIP banned the Bane. I think that combo was something that you got to take it away from the side of Burden United because they play it so well.
Yeah, the combo of itself against the Chen was the brilliance of it, is that combo, the Mirana pretty much can never die unless for some reason the Chen has like 2 troll creeps or a troll on a centaur and catches you as you leap. Like that's the only way you would die in that lane. And then Bane, he can always set up an arrow as long as there's nothing in the vicinity to block it, so it was really cool to see. However, not going to see either the Chen or the Bane in this game, as Burden and NIP have banned those heroes respectively. So I'm still thinking NIP, if you look at the Wisp and the Bristleback right now, you're thinking to yourself, okay, there's always aggressive potential, so we need to make sure that we're going to pick some kind of core or at least put together a lane that can deal with that. Otherwise, Burden, those heroes are almost assuredly going to be played together. So they need to make sure they get something on the draft that just says, we can farm against this. Maybe they go back for their Viper, similar to what they did in game number 1. I feel like that pick was still, it was okay, given circumstances, but it's for the same reason they picked it in the first draft is why they would have to pick it here, because they need something that's sustainable in lane. They need something that will win the lane or at least go even.
Reserve time.
And well, with the ban on Disrupt, pretty much standard when you're running any kind of IO lineup. You don't want to be bothering about the potential glimpses each time you come in for a relocating.
Yep.
Storm Spirit will be the ban from Ninjas in Pyjamas. Obviously a hero that we see them like to pick up sometimes on the Necroman in the safe lane position. So maybe anticipating that it is going to be somewhere else for the Bristleback this game in terms of lanes. And NIP now with their third pick, maybe looking to make the draft a little bit clearer for us here, as we've got the Ogre Magi picked up. I guess we can expect to see the puck in the mid lane, because that's where they normally do like to run it with Limp. We very rarely see them do it on a side lane.
Yeah, it just depends. Like, there's too many ifs right now. It's like we don't know exactly what Nip or Burden are going to be doing for their laning phase. We can only speculate that the Bristleback and that the Wisp are going to be together no matter where they go. So if it's mid, they're going to be there. If it's off lane, they're going to be there. I don't know if it's going to be a safe lane composition per se, but Nip going with the Darkseer. Interesting pairing between the Ogre Magi, like being able to surge him in for a stun. There is definitely some synergy there. And Ion Shell is fantastic when you have tanky heroes to utilize it, such as the Ogre, and also great against Bristleback, who wants to run at you. So Ion Shell can be quite strong here, and also a natural mech carrier. And if they can't get their hands on Chen, they definitely needed one of those.
Yeah, indeed, and Darkseer, we've been seeing a lot of success with the hero recently. It's been a very strong pick for some teams.
Yeah, it's kind of a hit or miss for me, because a lot of the times I feel if you're not picking it to punish a greedy lane, sometimes his mid game is a little bit lackluster. Now, up against teams who build early BKBs, I feel like he's worse in general. So it's kind of nice that Burden haven't picked anything that is like that Shadow Fiend type, where you just immediately rush the BKB after building like one item, and then the Darkseer pretty much does nothing to you for like the entire duration of it. So that's kind of where I feel like he's weakest. And given Ninjas in Pyjamas lineup right now, they are pretty much all in magical damage. So Pipe is looking really good against them. A BKB carrier would be fantastic. If they wanted to go the Necroman Shadow Fiend, that is definitely possible. And another hero that we don't see much, pretty much a direct counter pick to the Puck and the Darkseer and the Skywrath Mage.
Yeah, indeed, the Scarf Mage picked up. And now thinking about it, we were talking about this hero in the first draft. It is still available. I don't know if Burning United play that much. The Beastmaster could be kind of nice in this lineup. You know, setting up the relocates and obviously setting up a Mystic Flare. If they wanted to slip it into their draft, I wouldn't be surprised, but it's more of a question whether that's one of the heroes they like to run with, and it's definitely not one of their most played, the Beastmaster. NIP, they pick up the AA, so adding to the Wombo combo, I mean, with the Dream Coil setup, obviously just the Puck in itself, very nice with the AA. As soon as you hit 6 on the AA, Puck can start to begin to roam, and a Dream Coil is pretty much a guaranteed kill. As long as you find the momentum in the early game, you're going to be able to easily blow up these squishier heroes like the Scarf and the IO.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also a very good deterrent against mech. Like, if anybody on the side of Burden were to make it, it would probably be the Wisp right now. So maybe a delayed mech more than anything else. The one thing that I'm looking at Nip's lineup, I'm thinking they're making a tri-lane, and their last hero kind of has to be ranged if they want any kind of aggressive potential. And Burden are actually going with an AM.
I like it. I mean, there's 4 intel heroes on there.
It's greedy, though. It is very greedy.
But
like,
look at all those massive mana pools, Draskell.
Oh, I don't disagree. Like, if he makes it towards the mid-late game, he will be having a grand old time. There's no doubt about that. He's going to need his Manta to feel very safe in this game to be able to obviously remove Whiting Rift from the Puck, as he's going to be the Blink initiator that can actually force a fight on him. So it is a solid pick. They're relying heavily, though, on the Bristleback, the Sky, and the IO to make room for him until he can reach that critical mass where NIP can no longer deal with him just because he has Blink. He's too tanky with his Magic Shell. Now, Nip, I think they kind of need to build some kind of aggressive lane now. They need to go up against the AM and punish him in lane, or they're just going to have a really, really bad time.
And I mean, they've definitely got the potential to do that if they do want to run, for instance, the Darkseer on the safe lane solo, put the Puck in the mid. You've got an Ogre and an AA already in your tri-lane potential aggressive situation, and that's a couple of very tasty supports to have to go head-to-head with someone like an Anti-Mage who's going to be very susceptible to getting picked off in the early game.
Yeah, his early laning is pretty bad. It's one of those heroes that if you leave him alone for maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, even just having treads and a ring of health makes his laning phase that much stronger. But if you pressure him from minute 1, there's a very early point where he's just like, oh, well, I can't farm anything. It's like a Spectre, you know? You just walk to the creep wave and you're like, what do I do? And then you kind of just sit there and get punched. Now, Nip, they ban out the BM, so they were thinking pretty similar.
Thinking like ours.
Yeah, they were thinking, you know.
Which I don't know if it's a great thing to be associated with Nip because they've not been doing great recently.
They kind of got crushed
maybe that's where they're going wrong. They're thinking the same as I am. So they need to change their game up with that one. And final ban for the side of Burn United. They're going to take away the Leshrac. And I guess, yeah, could very well have been in a lane situation with the DS and the AA. Obviously, more often than not, we've seen Era take it into the mid lane, which would have been a little bit surprising, as they've already got the puck in the darks here, but I don't know, Era can be a beast on that hero, and if you just take it away from it.
It's more the double stun and the chilling touch that was the problem. Like, if you're going to have a farming Leshrac, which we do see quite often, it's one of those heroes that if they pressure in lane with it, it's going to be more than fine. And Nip, they're going to end things out here with a Void, so it is pretty much full-on wombo combo.
The wombo combos are going to be, there's the potential for them to be absolutely massive. I mean, the vacuum set up just everything. With the AM against the Void, there's an interesting dynamic between the heroes. So AM on paper farms faster than Void. So the AM is usually the hero who has a bit of an advantage in terms of acquiring GPM. But if the Void ever gets ahead of the AM for any reason, it's just a solo kill every time the Void wants to drop a sphere. Now that's not including the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast or the Blink potential from the puck either. So there's a lot of emphasis on how much the AM and the Void are going to be able to get during those early stages of the game, and which one is ahead of the other, because that can just mean the AM either has to farm his jungle for the entire game and can't ever show due to the Void being able to just kill him in a sphere, or it's going to be the AM is so far ahead that Nip have to commit a ton to killing him, and then you also have to worry about the Bristleback plus whatever last core we're going to see out here from Burden, because I believe, unless it's Skywrath mid, that they do not have Necroman's hero. And we are going to see, actually, in a second, who's playing what. Ooh, Sing on the AM.
Yeah, Necroman, Bristleback, okay.
Okay, so yeah, we'll see how they decide to lane it up as well. With Sing on the AM, I mean, surely do they put him towards the mid lane to avoid these very scary side lanes of NIP? Looks like Necroman's going to go mid this time on the Bristleback back to buy miners. But similar to what we saw in the first game, of course, with him going on the gyro towards the mid lane. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the second game of the first series of the day here. The ASUS ROG DreamLeague, Burden United up against Ninjas in Pyjamas. Let's see what we've got going out from the sides. On the side of NIP, we're going to have Hansken. He's going to be on the support Ogre Magi. Will be Jonas and Van on that solo lane Darkseer. Limp in the mid lane on his puck. And finally, that leaves both Era on that position 1 Void and Seal Kid on the support AA. Draskell, what are we seeing from Burden?
Well, first here we're going to have Necroman playing the Bristleback, My Nuts. Going to be playing on the Wisp. Sing, going to be handling the Anti-Mage here. Come With Me, playing the Skywrath Mage. And then Sokshka or Paris going to be playing Spearbreaker. Does he have a preferred name? Does he actually like being called Paris?
I think he likes being called Paris.
Okay.
Yes, he's trying to get rid of the Sokshka. I believe that's what we were told anyway, before. So we'll settle with Paris. I mean, the thing that I do like about NIP's pick on the Void is if you look at Burden United's lineup, there's not really a lot that they can do from outside the sphere. They've got the Skywrath Mage, but you're probably looking to catch him in it because a couple of bashes and you're killing him. The AM, he can throw in a Mana Void. Io can give you a few tickles. Bristleback against the Quill Sprays or something, but there's nothing really massive to stop the Void going ham in the Chrono.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a concern, but again, it's all about the level of farm that the AM has or the Bristleback has. Because Void can fall into one of those situations where he just doesn't deal enough damage on his own and is reliant on damage outside his sphere. And I don't remember which team actually picked it, but we did see a Void previously in the ASUS ROG DreamLeague, and it just ended up being kind of a disaster because he was never really able to do anything.
I think it was basically unknown, wasn't it? Nico Baby.
Yeah, it was Nico Baby.
Yeah.
So there is definitely the possibility where you can come into a game and pick Void and say, look, we got Ancient Apparition Ice Blast, we got Darkseer, we got Puck, we got a lot of damage, but you still need to coordinate the fights.
Yeah. I really like what they've done with the lanes again here, Burden United. It's pretty much what I was saying that they might look to do in the draft. They've avoided that aggressive tri-lane with the Sing AM. They've taken him to the mid lane to go up against the Puck, and they've left Necroman against this aggression of NIP. And as scary as this tri-lane is, it's going to be hard for them to kill a Bristleback once he has a couple of levels under his belt, and Sing should be able to find a lot of farm against the Puck.
As long as Necroman's positioning is on point, he should not die here, but never underestimate Chilling Touch. If 3 heroes are hitting you and you get walked into, it could be lots of trouble. And speaking of walking into people, Hansken just kind of chilling out mid here, trying to harass a bit. Sing, not really struggling on CS, but certainly not farming as well as Era. I think, honestly, the laning phase, top is going to be, I guess, a wash for both heroes. I don't think they'll kill the Darkseer unless Jonas gets really far out of position. So safe lane for each team, probably doing okay. Necroman maybe not so much, and mid, I think Sing will actually have a bit of a hard time farming here.
Yeah, especially now with the fact that the Ogre has turned up. I mean, I think the kill potential will certainly be there for side of Burden United on the top lane once they get a few levels. I mean, a charge into the old Ancient Seal, get a few magical bashes through, that amped up damage. I mean, I guess DS is fairly tanky, but if the bashes are real,
Yeah,
You know, if RNG's on his side,
if he's at
that's a kill.
17%, he probably can kill him at some point. So still kind of an early, or a quiet early game here. Both teams kind of just vying for lane control. Now that the Wisp has the bottle, oh, gonna see a charge here.
Yeah, and Kawimpi's got a haste room here as well. They could charge down this Ogre. He is an Ogre Magius who's got a fair few health points to play with, but it's not going to be enough as Sing Sing comes in. The bashes are true. He gets a couple of them through.
Was that 2 or 3 bashes?
I think it was just 2. I think it was the charge into 2 bashes straight up.
My God. All right, 17%, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are counting at home.
Oh, yeah, Limp just does a little bit of a cheeky orb back there as Sing Sing blinks forward. But first blood to the side of Burden United. Bristleback getting very low there on the bottom lane. His health bar went down to 0. He's able to salve himself back up. But it looks like Era got very close to finding themselves a kill in return. And now Hansken, he's returned to the bottom lane now. He doesn't want to look for more action in the mid lane after that bit of a horror story that went on.
Well, I don't really, I don't blame him. I mean, he's going to have PTSD from those bashes, I'm sure. And now Wisp just kind of looking around here, seeing if he can secure the bottom rune. It was already taken. A Limp. He's out of mana here in the middle lane, so Sing is going for some harass. He doesn't have mana to orb, but I don't think they'll be able to go for a kill. Laning phase still pretty heavily favoring Nip in terms of CS, though. That's the big concern. Like, Era is totally free farming. So even with Hansken dying that one time, the Darkseer is winning top, the Void's winning bottom, the Puck is winning mid.
Scarf not in that much of a great place. The slow and the stun will be laid onto him by Hansken, and now the slow from the Time Walk as well. Come with me in a lot of trouble here, and Era actually let the kill go to Ogre there. They looked like indeed he didn't go for the final hit
It
on
could
that.
have been a little bit of a... It was either a misplay or he just decided it didn't matter. Like, whoever gets the kill gets the kill. Which is fair enough, because if you look at the laning phase, the way that it's shaping up for Nip, they are just crushing it.
It's looking very good for NIP at the start of this game. It certainly is. Obviously, given away the first blood isn't great, but I think they'll be happy with the trade in the sense that they've found a lot of space and time. And as you said, Void is having the start that he needs against an Anti-Mage. And as you said, if a Void gets this kind of start and can keep himself ahead of the AM and start to find the kills, it's going to be very hard for Sing Sing to catch up.
The worst case scenario for Burden is Era having this kind of a start. Like, I get the idea of putting Sing mid to avoid any confrontation, but they need to try to find a way to stop Era from just totally free farming. Because if the AM is behind and then the Void is ahead, Nip are just going to be looking for team fights nonstop. Like, their fighting potential is completely off the charts once their supports get 6, especially Seal Kid on that Ancient Apparition. And Limp, of course, he'll be level 6 very soon. He can just buy a TP, maybe look to gank bottom.
They're going to go and try for Limp here as Sing Sing and Minux go in. There's going to be a charge as well. Limp starts to bottle up, and it looks like the charge might need to be cancelled because Hansken's coming with the TP reaction, and it will be indeed Spirit Breaker halting the charge there, and returns to the top lane to continue to try and find some farm against this Darkseer. But Darkseer, of course, being Darkseer, he's getting a lot of gold from this top lane.
It's expected. Like, the Spirit Breaker Skywrath lane got broken up very early after Burden realized that their safe lane in mid actually needed more help than just the Wisp being nearby. And again, this is just props to Nip. They banned out the Gyrocopter in the first phase, so they weren't scared of the Wisp going through because they can just deal with the lane itself. It's not a matter of being able to win the mid game. It's just saying, in the early game, we will beat you so hard in the lanes that you will not be able to do anything. Now, I'm not saying it's to that extent here, but that's the general mentality that they've adopted for their draft. So up until now, it's worked out very well for them. See if they can kind of continue this early game dominance and transition it into a strong mid game.
Yeah, I mean, it really relies on how they're going to be able to use it against the side of Burden United. I mean, we're getting to the point now, coming up to 6 minutes in, where we're starting to see the ults come out in the cores. Sing Sing very close to getting his Mana Void, and also, of course, with the Nether Strike on the Spirit Breaker. There's a lot of potential for action coming out from Burden United, but I guess the same could be said for the side of NIP. At this point, if you Chronosphere someone straight up and the Puck's in the nearby area, you're going to be finding kills. Like, the pick-off potential for both sides is pretty huge this game.
Even with just a Sphere and a Chilling Touch, the AA, like, Seal Kid can just hit like once or twice. Even with level 1 Chilling Touch, it's still an additional 50 damage. Era probably looking to buy a Mask of Madness after that, and then your kill potential is already good enough when you have max Bash. I'm just really surprised that Nip have been able to get such a huge lead. Like, just in terms of CS, the top 3 are all Nip, and besides Sing on Burden, everyone else is miles behind.
Oh, we saw Limp and Hansken there hanging around the sidelines of the mid lane. Maybe seeing if they could go for something on Sing Sing. They do have the Dream Coil available on the Puck. Now with the Mana Void onto the AM, blinking forward aggressively, trying to get the mana low on Limp. Brings it down to half limp. Will be able to orb himself away in that error. He's looking to dive here. Going for Necroman. The chilling touches on him. They found the Bristleback. There'll be a TP reaction and a charge onto Sealkid. They do kill Sealkid first. Necroman will end up going down, but now with the Nether Strike onto the error, the Ancient Seal as well, they might be able to find the Void. He's got a Time Walk available. Tries to get himself out. Will be able to zip out across the tree line. Can he TP out as well? Yes, he can. He's salved up. He gets himself out. It ends up being a 1-for-1 trade, and a trade that NIP will be happy about. They kill the Bristleback. They force a heavy amount of rotation, and the side of Burden United only find the AA in return.
And in the end, it wasn't too bad. And keep in mind, Void wasn't even level 6 for that. So Era having Sphere, the next time they try to do something crazy like tower dive a tier 1 that heavily, the team fight's going to be a lot easier to execute. And we also didn't mention that Limp wasn't even in the area. He's got a double damage here. He's just chilling out inside of the woods. He has Coil available. And looks like he's going for the Rush Blink Dagger. He's not going to finish up his treads, which some puck players do.
All forward to the mid lane. Sing Sing found himself a little bit of a space to continue to farm, but still just a little bit behind the three cores, in fact, of the side of NIP. He's going to waltz himself up into the jungle. He's not going to find Sealkid, but he's looking for a potential wraparound onto Darkseer. Innocent Fan, he's going to take a heavy amount of damage here from this Mana Void. It is only level 1 Mana Void, and of course level 1 Mana Void can be a little bit underwhelming.
It's still like 0.6 damage for every mana missing. It's not that bad. I think if you're like completely out of mana and you have like 1,000 mana, it's 600 damage. So it's like not too bad.
It's alright, yeah. He's not going to find it though. Just picks himself up a regen rune and will head himself back to the mid lane. And the mid lane seems to be the focus for both sides. As Hanskin's coming in and smoked up. Also, Era's rotating in and has got that Chronosphere. So maybe they can see to find a little bit of action here as Era trying to see if he can catch out Sing Sing. Now, do they have the damage to bring him down? He's going to try for it. The Chrono will catch Sing Sing on the edge, the Orb 4, but Sing Sing is going to be hard to bring down. They've got the Io backing him up as well. He will get stunned up, but they're not killing him. Sing Sing should be able to walk out of this one. Dreamcore now will get dropped. He's still low, but Miner's doing his best to top up the AM. Sing Sing gets out. They end up losing the AA here with this action from NIP. And maybe going on Sing Sing wasn't the best idea with the tools that they had at their capabilities.
I'm not sure why they decided to break up their amazing laning phase and try to go for something like that. Like, if you have your puck rotate to a lane to go for a counter gank, that's one thing. But if you take your position 1, who is completely free farming, to try to gank a hero sitting in his tier 1 who also has Blink, when you only have level 2 Waning Rift on your puck, you needed more damage, like, simply put. He needed to either become the Bash Lord, or he needed an AA to be level 6, which is not the case for Sealkid.
Well, indeed, I mean, NIP, as you said, need to be careful about throwing away the advantage that they've gained here in the early game, but the advantage is still very much apparent. And, of course, the Darkseer. He's not had to turn up to the fights, and he's getting very scared. Is he closing on the mechanism on the Darkseer now?
He went Arcanes first.
Oh, went Arcanes first, okay. He's pretty much...
He actually almost has both.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he'll have Guardian Greaves at, like, 14, 15 minutes if he opts to go for that build. Otherwise, he could just go back for a Blink Dagger or something like that. Or even just go for, like, a Crimson, just make his team super tanky. Like, he has 77 creep kills at 10 minutes. He's going to get spotted here, though.
Yeah, maybe the combination of these two can bring him down, and I think they can with the Ancient Seal and the Bash is coming through as well. Jonathan Fan, he'll try and run, but there's going to be a charge as well, holding him in place. Very nice pick-up down to the Darkseer, who are just kind of sitting around there and maybe not aware that Burden United do indeed have vision of that area of the jungle.
Bashbros.com. One convenient location.
Bashbros.com.
Yeah, in Nips Woods.
That sounds like a website we shouldn't promote on this stream, I think.
Nah, it's fine. All right, so still Nip with a pretty sizable lead here. Once the mech is finished, I think they probably start doing a little bit more 5-manning. They desperately need to give Sealkid a solo lane, though, because he's level 4. Like, he needs level 6, and Minot's also kind of in the same boat here, level 4 as well. The Ogre Magi still waiting for his multicast as well. So there's a lot of things that can go pretty decently for both teams once they start getting some experience. Sing, he's quite a ways off of his Battle Fury, but he is catching up in CS, which is important. All the movement that Nip have been doing have allowed Sing to recover the early game farm, which was more or less non-existent for him.
Well, it's true. Necroman getting a bit of space here on the top lane as well. AA trying to find some of the solo XP in this lane. How close is he to hitting that level 6 with the Ice Blast? He's still just free level 4, so he's got a bit of a way to go. And Hanske might be caught out here with a charge from Paris. They've got Sing Sing Minus as well backing this one up. There's no way the Ogre gets himself out of this. And that's another kill for Burden United. I mean, Burden United, after a pretty nasty laning stage, they're finding the kills and coming out on top in comparison to NIP.
Their movement has just overall been better than Nip's. Like, the first real engagement we saw from Nip that they wanted to take, outside of diving the tier 1, which resulted in a 1-for-1 trade, not really a huge win for them. They tried to send their Void mid to gank an AM with just a puck for damage. Like, the movement and the coordination from NiP in general just really hasn't been there, even though their laning decisions were very good. So there is a lot of time right now for Burden to recover from the pretty atrocious laning phase that they have had. And it gets more concerning for NiP as time goes on, because Era at one point, he was dominating the CS. He had more denies, like he had double the denies that the AM had CS. And now there's only an 8 creep difference between the two of them, the AM and the Void. So yeah, it's not looking super hot like it was a little while ago.
And with Parrish now backing up Sing Sing on this bottom lane, this is not going to be the place that Era's going to be able to find any farm. So he backs himself out and maybe looking for a bit of action with the rest of his team, seeing if he can find a pick off onto the mid lane potentially. They've got the Chronosphere and they've got the Dream Coil as well if they want to set something up here.
And they do have level 3 Waning Rift. These kills are very easy though. These are the two squishiest heroes on the side of Burden. The Skywrath and the IO are definitely easy pickings.
Oh, and there we go, onto Minuts. He's get caught in the Chronosphere, will go down. They do find the return kill onto AA. So, even trades across the map between the sides.
Yeah, I guess the AA dying is actually not... Well, maybe it's more important than the Wisp dying. Because, for instance, they showed earlier that NiP don't really have the damage to kill the cores that effectively unless they commit like 3+ heroes. So having the Ice Blast means that Era's Sphere is that much more deadly. And that's global presence too. That means that the Void can be anywhere on the map and AA doesn't have to be in the area. So it's a very similar function to what Wisp gives you, but instead of bringing the hero there, you're just adding damage. So for NiP, it's more important for them to be able to find those kills than it is for Burden, who just seem to be able to get them. Like they're being gifted every single time.
And it looks like they've realized that Sing Sing's getting a little bit too much farm for their own good. And they send Darkseer down to this bottom lane, which is going to have to make Sing Sing maybe reevaluate where he's going to be best looking for the farm.
For the moment, he's still more than okay. Like, they have a lane ward down here, or kind of a lane ward, and he'll be able to spot out the gank coming his way. All he needs to do is just yell for his team to TP if they go for an aggressive dive, and he should be A-okay.
Indeed, it looks like the rotation from NiP's not going to be able to achieve that much. Just keeping the 3 heroes down here. It's just giving a fair bit of space to Burden United. They've got the mid lane free for themselves, obviously. Potentially looking to try and push down a tower if they can. Minus a little bit low at the moment. Well, that's to back himself out, especially with the fact that AA now has got 6, so they've got the Ice Blast at their disposal as well now.
I think NiP just forgot the fact that they do have to hit creeps in this game. Like, the only person who's still farming is the Darkseer. And I think he's making his way towards bottom now to try to contribute to the team fight. So, again, Era has not hit a single creep in like 5 minutes.
There we go.
All right, now we got one. Boom, nailed it. But still, Sing is now ahead of him in farm in terms of overall CS, and the net worth, they're about neck and neck. So a hero that was absolutely free farming is now tied within like 6 or 7 minutes of being passive.
Can they find Necroman here? He looks like he's a little bit too speedy, yeah, with the warpath.
He's only got level 2 time walk. Yep, he's out of there. And now even the Bristleback has a mech. This is a guy who was up against a tri-lane alone at the start. He's 2-1, has a mech and tranquils with a bottle and a completed wand at 14 minutes. Like, this should not even be possible given the lanes that NiP were given.
Sing Sing finding a lot of free space now. There's going to be a bit of aggression going on to Parrish. Dream Coil dropped as well. They want to bring down this space cow with the Coil Stun, the Waning Rift, and the multicast as well flying out from Handscan. They do find him. He's going to buy back and maybe look to fight into this one because Necroman and Miners, they want to keep this fight going. Era has still got the Chronosphere available. They've got the Ice Blast also there as well. The wall will get dropped and there's a big wall right in the middle of the fight. The Chronosphere catching out the side, but they've already lost Jonas and Fan. They do find Miners in return, but Sing Sing's turned up. He's been able to help pick off the Darkseer. It's a 2-for-2 trade so far, and now Sing Sing is trying to find Limp. Limp getting low on mana. Handscan, he's getting low to come with me. Come with me. Can he finish this one off? Yes, he can with the help of Paris. This double kill goes the way of the Spirit Breaker. Come with me might lose his life. He certainly will. Paris, he's hoping for the bashes. He's not going to. Oh, he's going to find one, but Limp has already cleaned up, and 5 heroes going down on Burden United. A very nice fight there for NIP. And also worth noting there was also a dieback involved there on the Paris Spirit Breaker.
More than worth it for NiP, without a doubt. And the funny part about that fight was the AM blinks in and he then walks through the wall, and he has max mana break, right? So he puts all the illusions on the AM, Sync runs out of mana, can't get himself out of the team fight, and ends up just being a very nice engagement for NiP overall. But that's just the impact of having the Ancient Apparition being level 6, and Seal Kid got 2 levels off that. He's level 8 now. He lives through the entire engagement. He gets a point booster on top of the farm that he already has, and that's the kind of team fight that we are expecting to see out of NiP. Like, their fighting is definitely stronger in a 5-on-5 scenario.
I mean, do you think that was a mistake from Burden United to look to try and take that fight there? Should they have just ignored the aggression from NIP around that secret shop and continue to farm on Sing Sing?
I think it's always better to make sure that your AM at least gets to Battle Fury. Like, the thing is, if you want to take fights after you get Battle Fury, that's fine, because you know your farm is already going to be accelerated once you start getting back into that passive mode. But if you fight before you have the Battle Fury, the time that it takes to get there is like, it's multiplied. So you farm much slower without the item, clearly, is the point that I'm trying to make. So I think maybe just a little bit over-aggressive. Like, the buyback, for sure. Like, I don't even know why they thought that buying back and fighting into Void Sphere and Puck ulti was a good idea, but they tried it. Maybe they were a little bit confident because they had mech. Like, a 14-minute mech timing is still strong, so maybe they thought with mech they could take it.
But in terms of net worth, still looking very good for the side of NIP. Limp 6.8k, and I mean, from his play so far as well, this is kind of why you ban out the Puck against the side of NIP, because Limp, he knows what he's doing on the ladder.
I definitely think that he is the standout of this game. I mean, outside of the fact that Jonas has a ton of farm, like, that's really, really good for Nip. Like, if he can make his way towards those Guardian Greaves, those things are absolutely insane during these early engagements, especially against teams with that.
Arrow goes in with the Chrono straight up onto Paris. There will be an Ice Blast flying through as well. This Barrier Breaker is very much dead. He's down for 40 seconds, and well, after that buyback there, that fight around the Secret Shop, it's all kind of been downhill for Paris on the SB.
Yeah, the dieback into dying again. It hasn't been a great trip for the last 5 or 6 minutes of this game, and unfortunately for him, he does
they're going to
fall
find the courier here. We did see, yeah, Limp blinking forward, looking for that one. Minuts with the orbs flying out. Limp just drops the Dream Coil, waiting Rift and Orb, and he's going to be able to find the pick-off onto Io. No, he's not. The mech from Necroman. Very nicely done. And Limp low himself will now have to hide in the tree line, but should be able to escape. But yeah, good job there keeping Io alive.
Oh, it looks like they want to try to re-engage on this.
Well, going in, and this time Limp will find the Io. There's no mech. Nice Ice Blast coming through that might catch Necroman. It will do. There was a big Mana Void from Sing Sing, but it wasn't big enough. Now comes the charge from Paris. Maybe he can redeem himself and find some kills against NIP. Yeah, there's the Bashes on Terra. They found Era. Now the Ancient Seal on Jonas and Fan, they'll be able to bring him down as well. 2 pickoffs. They do lose the Scarf Mages. Limp, he's still alive. He's just finding double kills throughout this fight. Now there'll be a relocate from Io. It was a buyback from Io, but Minuts, he's not going to be able to catch him out. Limp just blinks and orbs away. And
that
another unfortunate buyback and relocate back in there from Io.
I don't know why he relocated. Did he mean to relocate by himself? Well, I guess he bought back, so maybe he was expecting.
He just wanted to rejoin the fighters.
I don't know. That was really awkward. Maybe he thought the urn was going to last longer than it did, because the urn would have prevented Blink, and maybe that would have been able to put him in range to be able to catch. Or maybe he just didn't know that he had so many wand charges. But either way, that was pretty awkward in the end. I think they killed the Void for sure. They killed the Darkseer. It wasn't a terrible exchange for Burden, but I don't know why they're just buying back.
Yeah, they're fan of the buyback. I guess in the earlier portions of the game, it's not that bad buying back. You're not really going to lose anything.
No, it's not terrible. If you're buying back on a hero that doesn't really have farm priority, it's fine, because that way you're not like hitting creeps with your buyback penalty. You're just kind of going back into the fight and make sure your cores get something out of it. So I definitely understand why he would do that.
He's going to go straight up to the Ancients, props down the Chronosphere. Skyrath Mage goes down. Will they be able to find anything more? They found a Waning Rift onto Necroman, trying to chase him down, but he's a little bit too speedy. There's another pick off there for the side of NIP. Sing Sing has found himself some space, has got enough money now to pretty much finish off that Battle Fury. So we're going to start to see the farm of Anti-Mage really come online.
Yeah, it's very nice for him that he's managed to still get it. 20 minutes is not too bad. He's been involved in 7 out of 11 of his team's kills, so he has been quite active here. A little bit of action here bottom lane. Looks like the Darkseer just ignored the Wisp.
Yeah, looks like he's potentially trying to bait.
He's invis. It's just really freaking hard to see.
It's always hard to tell, isn't it? It's always hard. And now he turns out with Sing Sing. They go in onto the AA. They will find him. The Ice Blast is already on both of them. Limp's going to find Come With Me in the trees. And there are 4 heroes here on the side of NIP. And the Dream Coil onto Minuts and to Sing Sing. Sing Sing, he blinks south. Minuts tries to TP away, but the Yule Scepter there holding him in position. Now with a zip forward from Era, they will be able to potentially find the yes, they do. Era's low though, and he goes down there. And they might lose Handskin as well, because Paris, Necroman, and Sing Sing, they're all going for this. He's got a Ghost Scepter, he'll buy him some time, but it's only going to prolong the inevitable as Ogre Magi almost certainly goes down here. There's the Guardian Greaves from Jonas and Fan. He's doing his best to try and keep his mate alive, but he goes down, and now with the charge onto the Darkseer. It will be cancelled though. They don't want to go on as Limp, still alive, hiding there in the tree line, ready to turn the fight around, but a very nice trade there for Burden United, and arguably the best trade we've seen for them in the last 10 minutes or so of this game.
That's Battle Fury plus 1,000 gold for Sing. He walks away from that fight with 2 kills. He's going to be quite happy with that, I think. They might even be able to get the tower. There is going to
Ice
be...
Blast, it's going to catch Sing Sing, and now Limp coming in, trying to clean up. We see Burning United commit straight onto the dark side. They want to find him. Sing Sing probably will tick down, and he does indeed. He goes down as well. Necroman in the tree line. Limp's blocked him in and going for it. This play on the puck, you've got to take the puck away from Limp. They look for Necroman, they find it, and Limp, he's just not dying. Paris is on a killing spree as he finds Jonas and Fan, but now Era comes forward. He wants to find more. Hasn't got the Chronosphere. There's going to be an attempt of an Everstrike, but he's actually going to get relocated out here as he will get himself out to safety. But I don't know, Burning United throwing away both the Bristleback and the Anti-Mage after a very favorable initial engagement. And I mean, this puck, Draskell, this puck.
It's really hard for their team to lock him down in general. They pretty much need either a Skyrest silence or a Spearbreaker charge into ulti to make sure that he doesn't go down. But since Limp already has Yules, even throwing out an Ancient Seal on him might not result in him dying. Yeah. And you might just see him remove it, and then all of a sudden you're down that damage amplification and silence from the Skywrath. So it is a tough position right now for Burden, and it's still anyone's game. Let's be clear, like this game is very close at this point. I think Nip maybe like a tiny bit advantage because of the fact that they do have such a ridiculously strong teamfight composition. Now, with the acquisition of Battle Fury, Sing's farm is going to start getting more and more out of control. In regards to overall farm, Era is actually not super far behind, but it's noticeable. Like Battle Fury versus the Mask of Madness and the Mithril Hammer, it's not terrifying. The thing that makes it scary is the puck and the Ancient Apparition in conjunction with the Sphere.
Absolutely. Now with the Mithril Hammer picked up, does he go straight for the Maelstrom here, or does he need to get a BKB up against Burden United's lineup?
I think they have enough damage outside of the Sphere to warrant going BKB.
Okay.
Like the wall has actually been doing a ton of work during these fights. So Jonas, 2 times in a row, he makes the illusion of the AM, and the AM illusion just mana burns him, and the Sing has to like leave the fight. It's happened in the woods when they were fighting near the tier 2s, and it also happened towards bottom lane as well. He just said, oh, I gotta run now, and then, you know, it's not great to be out of mana as AM, because it does mean you can't blink. And it's pretty important for that hero to have mobility. So, still think the game is anyone's to take. Getting any Aegis, though, for Nip, that's a very big boost. It more or less ensures the next team fight win. And Era potentially looking for a jump here. He does have a high ground ward.
Oh, he's also got this Chronosphere ready. He's going to go for it. Stroud's going with me. Doesn't need the ult for this one as Limp and Era able to find a pick off. They do drop the Dream Coil just to ensure that there's no way that Skyroth Mage is getting away. It's a kill nonetheless, though.
Maybe not a necessary sphere, but I mean, why not? If you know that no one else is in the vicinity, then you just throw one out just to be safe. Make sure you get the kill, and no one else really is going to fight into that because you have Aegis anyway. So I actually think dropping the coil was still fine there. Handskin, though, maybe not fine.
There's a lot of damage coming out onto this lad. He pops the Ghost Scepter, which will buy him some time, but he's dead. They throw the Mana Void there to make sure the kill goes the way of Sing Sing. And there is a wraparound coming from NIP. Maybe they can catch some people out here. Era still has that Chronosphere available. And it looks like it is Paris who's been left out to dry here as the whole entire team, bar the Ogre Magi, go in onto the Spearbreaker. He'll turn around, gets Julesed up, and thinks about trying to charge out, but the bashes are there from Era, and they will bring down Paris once more. And it's out of 19 to 16, it's the side of Burning United catching up in terms of farm. I mean, you look at the net worth of the individual heroes, suddenly the top 3 highest aren't all on the side of NIP. You've got Anti-Mage and Bristleback catching up and getting on top.
A lot of this game just comes down to the movement around the map that Nip made in the early game actually lost them a ton of momentum. I think they would have been much better served, and even watching the replay, they'll probably think something similar as, we shouldn't have moved so much. We actually had a huge lane advantage. It's hard to tell in-game how far ahead you actually are in terms of net worth and how badly you're out-farming your opponent. It takes a very lopsided victory for a team to have a clear indicator of, yeah, we're crushing this lane, this guy's not farming, you know, we're doing well. So maybe they felt a little bit more pressured than they needed to be, but they're still not in a bad way. Era is still farming well. The Darkseer has his Guardian Greaves up. Gonna see a little bit of ding-to-ding action here on bottom lane. But it is concerning that the AM has the Battle Fury and the Yasha, because once Manta comes out, you're gonna start seeing some serious kill potential coming out from this Anti-Mage.
Well, BKB now picks up for the Spirit Breaker as well, so perhaps he's going to be able to charge head into these fights, and there's not really a lot that they can do against a BKB Space Cow.
Yeah, I mean, you can still drop a Sphere on him, but ideally you Sphere either the AM or maybe the Skywrath Mage. Like, the supports are also really good targets for Nip, because if you can throw out a Sphere, you can more or less solo kill the Wisp inside of it for sure. Come With Me is kind of in the same boat. And I think that Burden actually, without their supports, like having the Skywrath Silence and the added damage, they're not great in 5v5, but they are good at split pushing.
This is nice from Era here. They've got that lane observer ward down, and he's hanging around in the tree line, waiting to see if he can find a Chronosphere.
Maybe not.
Sing Sing. If he comes forward, he might want to go for this. There's an Ice Blast, there's a wall available.
They gave him the shell, but I think he saw him walk forward and cast a shell on the creeps in the woods, so that pretty much just gave away the fact that he was there, but I can see why he wanted to do that. Ultimately, if they wanted to go for that, the A would have had to have thrown his ulti quite a bit sooner, and then they would just have to go in and YOLO Sphere and hope for the best. But no fight going to break out. Ancient Apparition just kind of chilling here. Bottom lane and then top, we can see that they're still sticking around, man. This is what I mean. Like, when they want to do something, they commit. Like, they just sit there.
Are they going to go for it this side of NIP? How is AA doing on his road to the Aghanim Scepter? Obviously, we saw him with an early point booster. Yeah, he's got the Ogre Club and stuff.
Oh, he's rich now.
Very close. Under 700 gold away from that Aghanims. 27 minutes in. And that tower's going to help him with this, with the old little gold gain. And it is indeed going to be that BKB for Era. And he himself very close. Only 100 away from the recipe.
Yeah, with the BKB, you have almost invincibility, I would say, against Burden's team. The AM does hit reasonably hard, but it's not scary to a point where you have to just run from it, and plus you're going to be spearing him a lot of the time anyway. So prior to Sing picking up that Manta style, it's a pretty easy target here and charge.
Yeah, onto Seal Kid. This would be a nice kill. There's going to be a relocate from Minuts as well, who they do take a nice blast to the face. Can the side of NIP capitalize on this one? Hands get moving forward, but the Glimmer Cape and Minuts trying to get himself out.
1 second. Oh.
He's dead.
He glimmered and everything. He did his best.
Manta Star now finished on Sing Sing though. So yeah, he's going to be fairly scary if they're able to get a good jump onto the heroes of Net.
The new Battle Fury is actually pretty legit when you're just kind of in this passive mode, because you get the free Quelling Blade that doesn't take up inventory space. So the later the game goes, the Battle Fury is a better value item for the slot than it was previously. You might farm a tiny bit slower in general because of the Quelling change, but the fact that you don't have to commit an inventory slot to it actually, I think, makes it better.
Okay, and 29. Let's have a look at the graphs, in fact. Is it still fairly even? It still feels even, yeah. There's hardly anything in it this game. I mean, XP, we're going back to 0. And it's only 1k in terms of net worth as well. It's such a close game. And with a Void and an AM, these are both heroes that effectively do very well against each other in the latter portions. I guess ultimately the Void is going to be the bigger threat.
Yeah, it also depends on who gets the jump, right?
Yeah.
And top lane, speaking of getting jumped, Seal Kid.
Oh, he just wants to find that final bit of gold here for the Aghanims, and well, maybe he won't go down here, because Come With Me's actually having to run away. Paris has decided to go in onto Era.
What?
Now with the Yules onto Come With Me, NIP will kill the Skyreth Mage. NIP are also looking for Paris, who's kind of caught on his own here. He's going to go down as well. And what was the plan there from Burden?
I don't know what he thought was going to happen when he did that. Like, it was so obvious that if he had ulted there, he was going to bash him into trees. Or, like, change places with him and then, like, bash him out. But maybe he thought the trees were going to break. I don't know. That was really awkward. He just ends up getting stuck. And the Aegis is now down on Void. So NIP not quite having the same level of teamfight potential as they were previously, but they did just give away 2 free kills on the side of Burden. So, still very, very close game. Waiting for Sing to get his next big item, whether it be... I don't know if BKB is really that useful for him here. Because he's going to be the spear target in a lot of these engagements, so it's kind of hard to justify buying it. You kind of want like BKB and Abyssal together, because that way you can jump on your own terms and like go in with BKB on Abyssal, the Void, and try to kill him. And if you don't want to fight the Void, you just go split pushing items instead.
Look at this. This is tasty for Burden. Finding a nice little ancient stack here for Sing Sing. That's a lot of gold in his pocket. Coming up to 2.7k now on top of the Manta Style. So AM's farm is certainly real, and it's a huge amount above Era's now. 5k in it.
Yeah, he's almost a full item ahead in progression, but this is kind of what you expect. The Void has been taking more of a teamfight capacity to NIP as opposed to AM, who really only wants to hit creeps. It's just a different dynamic that the heroes are serving for their teams at this point. Now, I'm not saying that it's any worse to not hit creeps anymore for the Void, because as long as he gets a sphere, his job is complete. But there will be a stage when Sing is so much more farmed that you might not be able to kill him in the sphere. And that's going to be a problem, because you only have 1 physical damage dealer on your team, and that's the Void. So he's gone BKB, Mask of Madness, and he also has Aquila Treads. That is a pretty standard Void build, but right now, he's getting his damage supplemented from the AA, the Puck, the Ogre. The later the game goes, your magic damage dealer is against an AM, not so great. So he does need to have some item progression still.
Towards mid lane. Do they want to go on to Hansken here? It's going to send the illusions through, and Burden United playing a bit more timid than they were just earlier. They don't want to throw away any more free kills like they did to the side of NIP. Spirit Breaker looking to close in on the Vladimirs as well for the team, which of course going to be very nice for Sing Sing in these fights.
Yeah, they got the Crimson Guard, they got the mech, they're going to have the Vlads on top of that. Their teamfight potential is going through the roof, and it looks like we're going to see a little bit of action coming out here from Nip. There is a haste turn on this puck, and there's now Aghanims completed, so wherever they go, they should be able to find a kill if a coil is dropped. Like, AM might be the only person they can't kill if he blinks into a good spot.
Both sides just keeping themselves away from each other here. And NIP, they make the rotation to the top lane, but Burden United that were once there, they bag themselves out. Bottom lane, Hansken. He seems to be the solo lone ranger here for the side of NIP, looking to find that XP and farm for himself, trying to work his own way towards the Aghanims, but he's going to get found here by Paris now. Will pop the Ghost Scepter, but the bash is from the charge, obviously going through. He'll look to TP out. Where's your bash? Where's your bash? There's no bash. He gets away.
That was close. He used all his bash RNG earlier. He can't even be mad about that TP going off because he actually bashed the living crap out of everyone that he's touched this game. It's about time that something did not go his way, I guess. Anyway, Aghanims...
It's close for the Ogre, isn't it? Oh, is that done on the AA?
Yeah, it's done on the AA and the Darkseer. So Aghanims Fiesta here on the side of Nip. Pretty much everyone has an Aghanims, and even the Ogre is going to buy one as well. He's only around 950 away, a little bit less maybe.
I mean, it's going to be very hard for Burden United to push against this, and well, the fight might kick off here. It's Era. Oh, look at that Chronosphere. Just on the tip, finding Minuts and Sing Sing. Sing Sing could be in trouble as well. We'll find the blink, but that Dream Coil Aghanim stun holding him in place for a very long time. They're looking for the bashes. They won't be able to find it. Lim going forward. They can't quite catch out Sing Sing. They will get the Yule Scepter onto the Scarif Mage, and they'll look to finish him off instead. As Come With Me will fall. It's a monster kill streak for Lim, and that was a very nice Chronosphere from Era. Only just catching both those heroes.
Yeah, I mean, if they had gotten Sing there, it would have been massive. He probably, no, he didn't even have money for buybacks, so it might have even been high ground pressure coming out from Nip if that were the case. But still going to be happy with the 2 kills they've received. And Roshan has respawned, and there's not going to be a relocate for at least 15 seconds. So if they want to fight this, Sphere is going to be down. Era does have BKB though, and there's no wall. So maybe Burden tried to push out their lane and walk their way towards Roshan. If not, they're just giving it up for free to Nip, which I think puts them in a really solid spot, to be honest, because they still need Sing to get like 1 or 2 more items. He's almost got the heart. Actually, I think he might have just finished it on the courier. Yeah. So he's got the heart now, but he's going to need like another item on top of this, I think, to really hit that critical mass.
Yeah, I mean, the fighting potential from Burden United isn't half bad, but what is obviously insanely good is the split push potential. With the IO and the obviously the Anti-Mage, towers are going to be falling very, very quickly if NIP aren't reacting.
Yeah, it is true, but this isn't really a full split push build. This is more I want to be really tanky build. So he's got 2,500 health, a Battle Fury, and a Manta. If he goes for something else like a Butterfly or even Basher, his split pushing is much, much faster than with the heart build. So he does
catch out Era.
I don't think so. Not like this. But if he goes for the standard Butterfly heart, he'll be extremely tanky and do a ton of damage.
Oh, they've found a yours onto Paris here. Paris could be in trouble. We'll turn over the charge, but Limp just face shifts it off. There'll be the defensive relocate out. So they will save the Spirit Breaker, but IO, I don't think there's any hope for him there.
Oh god, no. Yeah, he's a goner. He might be able to glimmer and walk away a little bit.
Well, they've got the gem. Who's got the gem? I believe Era picked it up. Does he still got it on him?
No, Puck has it.
Puck's got it. Okay. Yeah, the Puck. Let's talk about the Puck, Andy, because it's doing pretty well.
He's had a fantastic game. He also had a very strong performance last time we saw him playing on this hero, so... The thing is, you don't really want to ban out Puck, because he's a hero who is kind of common, but it's not a top-tier hero. It's just you got to respect the player on the hero more than anything else.
Hansken coming in with the blast here and the multicast, but he's on his own. There's 3 heroes on the side of Burden United. He gets himself low, but he's fairly tanky. Will be able to live. Era zipping forward. He's going to find Come With Me in the tree line here. We'll try and chase down this Scarif Mage. Limp coming forward as well. And with the Ice Blast debuff on him, he's going to pop. Limp now on a beyond godlike streak. The side of Burden United, though, they do find Unison Fan. He gets down the wall, but of course the mana cost is going to mean there's a lot of mana to be voided there by the Anti-Mage, and they will pick off the Darkseer.
That mana void. That was painful. I actually want to see.
They've got a Chronosphere here, but he's not going to use it.
Okay, so that Mana Void hit for 1,000 damage. That's some serious deeps.
Yeah,
1,000 damage Mana Void.
You got to be careful on this Dark
And that's with Glimmer Cape resistance as well.
Ooh.
So not like the effect, but you know the 20% base. Yeah. Sorry, I just get curious when I see a hero with a ton of mana and I just see a level 3 Mana Void. I'm like, I wonder how hard that actually hit. But still, really solid position here for Nip. The AM is pulling ahead of the pack continually. Like this Void has 10,000 net worth. This is not a position 1 Void anymore.
This is a very, very confident position here for Necroman. He's right on his own. He pops the BKB. He's tanking up a lot of damage here. Ice Blast will go through. And obviously the debuff will land on him. He might actually be able to find a kill off the back of this. He's going for Sealkid. He'll find Sealkid. Now your Chronosphere comes out. Era pops the BKB to continue to fight. They've actually lost the A as well. And maybe this has worked out in the end. They did lose the Bristleback, but they found 2 heroes in return. And of course, they did kill that Puck. They finally managed to bring down Puck. And now they might find more Burden United. Era's incredibly low here. He's going to get taken down by the Mana Void. They don't have the wall for 10 seconds. He does have the Aegis Era, so he's back for round 2. Hasn't got that Chronosphere. There's a buyback from Limp as he gets himself back into the fight with the vacuum. The rift onto Sing Sing is not enough. He's fairly tanky. He blinks himself out. The Yule Scepter holding him position. He's still tanking up with the life from Io as well. He's just not dying. The Glimmer Cape also. Sing Sing's just walking this one off. NIP can't kill him. They'll settle for the Scarif. They will find him. Limp gets Ancient sealed up and he just can't find the kill onto Sing Sing. Minuts. He's going to find an orb to the face. Maybe they lose the Io. And he's got no mana either. Sing Sing's been able to TP himself out. And Minuts he's just juking it out here. They will finally go down with the vacuum into multicast. So a bit of a mess there for the side of NIP, but they do manage to kind of regain their strength and take the fight at the end of the day.
I think that fight just showcased how reliant Nip are on having the Ancient Apparition ulti and Ogre with the Puck nearby, because they were tickling Necroman. Like, let's be honest here. He didn't even use his Crimson. Like, he sat on this Crimson Guard the entire time, didn't even pop it. And the Void was like meowing at him for like 15 seconds straight before he actually dropped Sphere and then tried to go for the kill. So we can clearly see the difference between a 10,000 net worth Void, or I guess 11k, and a 20,000 net worth AM. As now there's going to be, I think almost, did he sell his Basher? Yeah, he did. Okay, he bought a Basher and then sold it. I thought he was going to go Abyssal, but maybe he goes for Butterfly instead. I mean, no one on the side of Nip is even in the ballpark of buying an MKB. Hex doesn't have the break mechanic anymore, so even if Limp gets one, it's not going to stop the evasion. There's just like a ton of bonuses to having it, and plus I think it actually helps you split push a little bit faster.
I mean, yeah, Juice, but you feel at this point, even though NIP have got the kill leads, the longer this game goes, it's favoring the side of
It's going to get worse for Nip. Like, there's a point where, like, 15 to 20 minutes where the Void doesn't have enough farm to kill the AM, and then once the AM or the Void gets like MKB and another damage item, then it goes back in Nip's favor again. So it's kind of like this back and forth of, at each time in the game, one team is going to be stronger than the other, and I think Burden are very close to the point where they're better.
Going in there. He knows where Sing Sing is. He's got the Shadow Blade here to set this one up. Sing Sing is going to get caught out by this Chronosphere. Ice Blast will connect. Can they bring down this Sing Sing? Look how much damage he's got. They can't kill him. Maybe they can now with these blasts, but no, Io relocates him out. They just can't kill the Sing Sing.
Yeah, too powerful. Oh no, he does. No, he's not taking any damage from the Frostbite. Never mind. He'll actually be fine.
All right, Anderson Pound pops down the wall there, which will stop Burden United. Continuing on to this one. Era thinking about going back in here as he's surged up. And Minuts just TP's out, and NIP, other than the Skyrath pickoff, unable to kill the cores here at Burden United. Both Bristleback and Anti-Mage just impossible to bring down.
So that was the everything on the AM. Very important to note that not only did he get everything, but Minuts was even he was so sure that he wasn't going to die that he didn't even immediately relocate him out of the sphere.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of players would have just been like, I'll just relocate off the sphere, we'll try to fight. He just like, nah, I'll let you get beat on for a while. It's more entertaining that way.
There's going to be a charge onto Jonathan Fan here now, and Panic Temple was on cooldown on. Oh, ho, ho, ho. That's, that Mana Void's going to hurt.
Yep.
I can see you already looking for the numbers.
I'm already looking through the combat log.
Gaskell wants to see what the exact damage was done.
It was a 1626 damage Mana Void.
There we go. That's a big damage nuke. And off the back of that, they're ready to push. Darkseer, of course, does have buyback, but he doesn't have the wall for 40 seconds. Ice Blast will land on all 4 of them, and it is an Aghanims Ice Blast, but at this point, when your heroes are this tanky, they don't really care.
The thing about AM is, like, the Frostbite portion of the ulti goes through BKB, but AM just has straight up magic damage reduction, so the Frostbite effect is just it's like nothing to him. He has 62% magical resistance, so you're not going to kill him with magic damage, even with an AALT. And Sing making his way towards that Abyssal Blade. He's opted to pick up the Relic instead. And then you can just buy the full Basher from the base and then send it out to himself. So I think the Relic is more for split pushing purposes. It just allows you to get the lanes out quicker. And with the kind of health that he has, it's already been proven that he is almost unkillable.
Oh, error. He's going to go into the jungle here, Shadowbladed up. He wants to start something. He's found Necroman here. The ping's coming out. Sing Sing, though, also in the jungle. Who do they decide to try and jump on? Sing Sing. He's just going to pop the Manta Style and keep that lane pushed in with the illusions. So he blinks off again. Error. Is he going to go for this one? He's going to try for it. They're going to go for round 2 here with the Ice Blast. Ogre getting the multicast from the sidelines. Maybe they can bring him down this time. They do. They find the damage to bring down Sing Sing. And that is a big kill for the side of NIP because they've been having trouble finding that one for a while. They're going to use up Minuts, but he's going to be relocating out in a couple of seconds and he should be fine. Oh, it's back to there. That's not the place he wanted to be relocating to. Does find the Tether out and we'll be able to escape here as the Skyros there to back him up.
Well, I think we've now seen that if Nip, for whatever reason, can isolate the AM alone and Sphere, Coil, double, like multicast him 35 times, then he can die.
Yes.
But the chances of that happening a lot are pretty slim. Like, you're not going to find Sing on his own with no Wisp nearby or no any, like, else. Like, even the Wisp relocating another hero in to help fight might have saved him. But I think MyNuts was more thinking along the lines of, I want to evacuate him from the fight more than I want to bring another hero in to just cause chaos. So maybe even in that scenario they could have saved him, but still, his tankiness has been proven.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as the side of Burn United group up, the amount that the Bristlebat's going to offer the AM as well in terms of defensive capabilities, obviously with the Crimson Guard. Now he's got a completed Shivas on this Bristlebat.
Yeah, it's just going to become ridiculous. Like, this Void, he has gained 2,000 net worth in like the last 10 minutes or so. Now, if he goes for Silver Edge, which I kind of have an inkling that he is, he can actually Silver Edge the AM inside of the Sphere, which takes away his spell shield.
That's true.
Which means that the magic damage from Nip will do substantially more during that time. But oh, never mind, he bites Demon Edge. So much for my theory crafting. Rip. Okay. So, it would have been cool to see.
So I guess, what, looking for the straight-up MKB, or do you think he goes for the crit for this one?
He goes MKB, because the AM most likely will go Butterfly after the Abyssal's done. And that's, he'll probably have buyback on top of that too, so.
Oh, both teams very closely grouped up and huddled up. Maybe this is the wombo combo potential that both sides are looking for. Era leading the way in. He's thinking about popping the Chrono. Is he going to drop it straight onto Sing Sing? He's going to have to be careful because MyNuts. Easy, he's going to go down. Nice Chrono onto 3. They've brought down 2. They'll almost certainly find Paris here as well. You got to be careful where you walk on Burning United because suddenly they're 3 heroes down and a lot of golden XP going to the side of NIP off the back of that one.
And not everyone on your team is as tanky as Sing. That's a public service announcement for the side of Burning United. You cannot all withstand the same amount of damage as your 4-slotted Anti-Mage. So, Nip looking to be in a pretty good spot for the near future. Roshan spawning very soon, which means that Nip will likely have the positional advantage for that. So the timing of their smoke gank in of itself was great. AM's just kind of chilling out, farming the enemy jungle. And they might even look to pressure this. There is no buyback on the Spirit Breaker. He's down for 40.
Yeah, there would be a buyback forced out on MyNuts and fortification coming out as well from the side of the Radiant. Sing Sing just content with looking to push in the top lane and keeping the mid lane pushed out with the Manta Style illusions. Has got that TP if he wishes to come back. Well, it's not going to be needed. Necroman seems to be enough to scare back the side of NIP as they back themselves out from the mid lane.
Yeah, the lane pressure that the AM is able to contribute to his team is another reason why the hero becomes such a nuisance during the late game. Like, sure, they'll be able to secure Roshan. It might give him another team fight under their belt, which can be a good thing because this is cheese as well. So you can give it to Limp, you can give it to Handskin. Either one of them are pretty decent cheese carriers. Heck, even the Darkseer at this point wouldn't be too bad. But Nip are still very reliant on their team fight. They're not as good at split pushing. They really only have one way they can play. They need to look for the engage, and they're going to be chased out of the pit here by Burden.
Oh, they're ready to fight.
3 seconds on Sphere. 3 seconds on Sphere.
3 seconds. Burden, Paris going straight into Jonas and Fan, and Jonas and Fan taking a lot of damage from the Mana Void. It's not enough. They have brought him down. The Chronosphere's caught out Paris, Sing Sing, and Necroman. But can they do anything with this NIP? Burning United, they're just not getting low. They're not dying at all. In fact, Era might be the one to die. Dreamcold will hold back Necroman. Era is able to get himself up to the high ground. Limp as well escapes. No one dying on the side of NIP, but both the Darkseer and the Void getting incredibly low. Jonas and Fan, he's chilling here. He has got the blink and should be able to escape.
The AA ulti missed there. It missed almost everyone.
Oh, the cheeky little vacuum there, but Sing Sing blinks himself back down. Necroman, he is stuck though here.
Ah, he's fine.
Ah, they go for the steal. They're not going to find it though. Sing Sing's already picked up the Aegis. And they might actually lose Hansken here, but they do find the kill onto the Spirit Breaker. Now Sing Sing coming in, trying to see what he can clean up. There's going to be the Shiva's Guard onto Hansken as he gets the multicast onto the Scarif Mage. Necroman on the high ground does find it with the old Quill Sprays, and Sing Sing looking to just clean up Jonas and Fan and Limp, but the rest of the team, Era's turned up, and now Sing Sing's in trouble. He has, of course, got that Aegis. Mana Void as well. Necroman's he's just stuck there trying to offer what he can with the goo and the Quill Sprays.
He's like a tower.
He is. He's chilling, and he offered quite a bit there. The stack's certainly built up.
He killed the ogre.
Sing Sing wants to go in here. He's got a Mana Void, but he doesn't quite find it. Onto the
he wants it so bad.
He wants it so bad. Oh, God, he's gonna come on. You got to go for this thing. You've got to go in for this one. There's the way. Come on.
No, what? Mana Void was there. You fool.
Oh, Sing Sing.
You had him.
Oh, Sing Dilly Ding Dong. Oh.
Maybe nighttime vision. I don't know. It seemed like he should have been visible, but
yeah,
maybe he just got a little bit out of range. Maybe he panicked. But he does preserve the Aegis.
Oh, they've got no courier for the courier's dead, so he is literally.
They can have the AM bring him a TP, or they can relocate him.
Oh, there's loads of TPs on the floor. Here we go. They're going to try and tether up to him.
Yeah, they are.
Well,
I think. Maybe.
Yeah, they force him down. That works.
Oh,
as
he
well.
just bought his force staff.
Well, he's dead. Ice blast into the old vacuum there. Nice play from Jonas and Fan catching out the Scar.
Oh, that's awkward. All right, so Abyssal done on the AM. He's got 3,000 HP. Last item looking to be probably Boots of Travel into Butterfly. A lot of the time you have to buy the Boots of Travel first because that way you don't have to have the inventory room for a TP. Because if you buy Butterfly components and you still have treads, then you can't hold a TP. So I think that'll probably be his likely item progression here. Nip, I mean, that fight around the Roshan pit, the AA ult biffed, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, we actually don't do any damage unless all of our abilities land in the same hero.
Oh, straight onto the Darks here, but well, Limp's going to be there with the Yule Scepter, holding Sing Sing back. He's not going to have to blink for this one because of that coil. The relocate coming in though from Minus and Necroman straight onto Limp. Limp pops the cheese. Will phase shift himself for the time being. The bash will not connect from Paris. Can Limp get himself out of here? He's going to try to. And now Era with a very nice Chronosphere Ice Blast as well. They did manage to get the relocate out, which is saving the Bristleback. It won't save Sing Sing though as he goes down once here with the Aegis. And here we go for round 2. And they will be able to kill him a second time. Very nicely there for the side of NIP, bringing down Sing Sing and bringing down Paris.
Now those wall illusions plus the AA blast, chilling touch, I mean, they've had everything available there. And looks like they're trying to buy some more time for the rest of NIP to chase down on Necroman here.
Yep, and they're going to be able to do so indeed. Hansken getting himself positioned with the multicast. Era looking for the bashes. Minus trying to help out Necroman here. And Era just goes straight for the Minus Wisp, but he pops the Glimmer Cape. Will be able to back himself up to the high ground, but no, the vacuum brings him back down. And he tempers himself over, but it doesn't matter. He still goes down here. Minus dead on the Wisp now, but a massive mana void blowing up Limp. Thanks to the fact that there's no mana on this Darkseer. Darkseer will end up going down as well. So Burning United do clean up pretty well on the side of NIP in terms of taking down the big cores, Void, Limp, and of course the Darkseer. But still, this is a lot of kills favoring the side of NIP. 41 to 25 overall now, but the net worth is still looking pretty impressive for Sing Sing here. 25,000 on your Anti-Mage compared to the highest on NIP, which is in fact on Limp's puck.
Yeah, that mana void though, that was definitely that was a big boom. Hit the void for his entire health bar, actually. 1,500 damage. Well, not like all of it, but a good majority of it. So now, lane pressure coming out from the side of Burden, trying to get just things pushed out a little bit. They did lose their Aegis for kind of no reason, so I'd say in that regard, Nip are probably still happy. They made the AM buyback. That means that if they are able to take him down one more time, they could be looking at a high ground push. So there is a point in the game, and now I think Sing, he wants to force the buybacks out of Nip for the reason that we just talked about is, if they have buyback
he's got the Abyss already. He might want to try and go for this kill. He's going to be held in place by the Yules. Does he? No, he's just going to stay here and hit the tower. No buyback coming out from Void and Darks here.
Without the Void being alive, he knows they can't kill him, so he's going to leave when the Void is up. Or, yeah, he's pushing it. He is definitely pushing it. All right, there we go.
Hansken, he's going to find the multicast onto Necroman, and with the stun as well, holding him under the Ice Blast. Dreamcoil has snapped him. Era's come in as well. Necroman, as tanky as he is, he will go down here as the side of NIP are able to punish the push a little bit. Come with me, might get caught out as well. Tries to TP out, but he's going to get vacuumed. He'll be brought down as well. And again, this time Burden United losing a couple of heroes off the back of a push.
Yeah, that was a really nice decision though from Sing to just push out the wave super hard. It's a scary situation when your most farmed core doesn't have buyout and the enemy team has mass buyout. That's like a situation where Nip can go high ground, and then if you catch the AM at all, it's just game over. And then if the other way around, if you take a good team fight and you've already forced Nip to buy out after you do your own buyout, then that means that they're not going to be able to just like tunnel vision down mid 2 times in a row, which can be kind of a nightmare.
Limp's got his Cypher Vice now for the next fight, and that's going to be pretty huge in controlling Sing Sing.
Yeah, I'm wondering what Sing's going to do here. He's got 4k gold. He doesn't have buyout cooldown for another 4.5 minutes. So I'm curious, does he just buy a Talisman of Evasion to mitigate right click, or what's going to be his option here? He could actually buy a BKB if he wanted to go like all-in base defense. That wouldn't be too bad of a choice either.
And IP, they're ready to force the issue up to the high ground. Fortification will come out from the side of Burden. They still don't have Necroman. He does have the buyback available, but he's not going to be wanting to use it here. The side of NIP, will they be able to force it out of him? They're taking down the tier 3, and now they're going to be onto the mid-racks. And these mid-racks falling fairly quickly here to the pushing power of Ninjas in Pyjamas. And, well, looks like they'll lose the mid-range racks. Melee racks have to be left for another day as NIP, they want to play it safe now as Bristleback does come back onto the board.
I'm really surprised that they didn't try to actually engage into that. I mean, I guess it is kind of a scary proposition when, like we spoke about, Sing not having his buyout available. That is a really, really big issue.
Can they get this Chrono out? Era trying to position himself nice, and he'll find Sing. Limp's actually gone straight into the Chrono there with that blink, and that's actually going to maybe spell the end of Limp. No, he's got the Yule Scepter. He'll be able to live through it. They haven't killed anyone on the side of Burden United. Now Burden United might kill some of them. The Dream Coil Stun holding back Paris, stopping him from following through onto Limp. Limp will be able to orb and blink himself out, and bit of a messy engagement there from the side of NIP with the Chronosphere, and then Limp blinking into it.
Well, also, my notes with the game-saving relocate, taking Sing out of the Chronosphere, which would have otherwise been a shared death for him. And charge out onto Jonas.
He's going for it. Oh, Sing, he's trapped. Yeah. Oh, he's blinked into the trees, and he is stuck there. Now we'll get tethered out. And now they're going to go for a push themselves, so they know that the Chronosphere is down. They know the Dream Core's not available, and of course Wall still not online for the Darks here, so this is the time to push, if any.
As it's a pretty small window. You got to try to make the best of it. This is like 1.5 creep waves worth of time, which is not really too big of a gap here. And Sing picks up the Hyperstone. Maybe he's going for the AC, or is he buying Moon Shards?
There's AC already on the Bristleback. Spirit Breaker, sorry.
Moon Shards?
Moon Shards. Maybe so. Sing will get hex up here by Limp. There's going to be a charge onto your poke. Limp will phase shift it, of course, but this might be the first set of racks we see going down this game. That is the range racks in the bottom lane, but it doesn't look like they'll be able to find the melee. They do back themselves out now. The big ults very soon and very shortly coming back online for the side of NIP.
Yeah, but with no AA ult, I think they're actually, like, it's the same amount of problem, I think, for them than it is for the Void ulti. So, like a 45 or 40-second cooldown is enough to be able to force a fight, but it seems like they're going to decide against that. Roshan spawning pretty soon, and then they're going to get a double damage on top of that, so it could be really nice. Paris actually is the one who bottles it up, as I guess they just want Sing to be pushing out lanes. They don't really want him to sit around with a DD waiting for something to happen. And smoke here from the side of Nip.
Yeah, smoke from Nip. Era ready to lead the way into the jungle with his Shadow Blade. But Burden United, they're aware of something fishy going on, and they're backing themselves right back up to the high ground. And it is indeed the Moon Shard now complete on Sing Sing.
I guess if you think about it, like Moon Shard with Mana Break is actually insane. Like, and because of the fact that he also has Abyssal Blade, you're going to be getting dem bashes, you know? So it is a very solid choice. Doesn't give you quite the survivability as something else, but he might have just made the concession that I'm going to die in a sphere if I get everything, and the only thing that's going to save me is my Wisp, so that is irrelevant whether or not I have a Butterfly. So I'll just go for like the damage item that gives me the most bang for my buck at this point.
Indeed, it is indeed all about the jump. Who gets the initiation onto who? And Roshan looks like he's going to be uncontested here. NIP will be able to claim that for themselves and get that Aegis onto Era, who now finishes up an MKB as well. So the damage is certainly going to be real from this basis forward.
Yeah, he saw the Demon Edge in the inventory as well. I think that also kind of influenced Sing's item choice here. He decided to just opt out of the Butterfly entirely because he knew the MKB would also be available. So again, he's relying solely on the Wisp to relocate him during these team fights. Now, fortunately for Burden, Sing is going to have buyback now. So when they got the Aegis, it's going to be another cheese, but at the very least, the cores on the side of Burden will be able to buy back. Well, the Bristleback is still short money, but the AM can buy back in 20 seconds. And so can everyone else but the Bristleback.
Error, he wants to find someone here. He's looking for someone. There'll be the TP out there, and he's not going to find anyone here. Oh, Hansken. He's found Minuts, though, but Minuts will be able to tether himself right over to Sing Sing. And the Ice Blast, and in fact, Hansken, well, he chases it down and he gets himself a kill there. Very nice pick off on the Aya.
Yeah, Ogre can pretty much stun you forever. Unrefined Fire Blast takes a percentage of your mana pool, so you can always cast the spell. And that means that the Wisp had a bad time.
Oh, so it doesn't. With the Wisp down for 50 seconds, this could be the opening that NIP are looking forward to push, and they've got all the ults available apart from Ice Blast, but of course with that short cooldown, it'll almost certainly be available again by the time the fight kicks off, and this might force Io to buy back just to help out one of his cores, but at the same time, and Io's not really going to be able to offer that much with a buyback.
Yeah, it's more or less if the AM gets caught out by a sphere, you want to be there for the relocate to make sure that the AM doesn't have to buy back just because of the sphere. That is the ideal, I think, engagement for Burden.
Oh, there's going to be another strike onto Era, who's trying to position himself here for the Chronosphere. Gets Ancient sealed up as well, pops the BKB and now turns his attention to Paris. But the Crimson Guard protecting Paris for a fair bit. He'll pop the BKB, he'll find a nice Chrono onto both Paris and Come With Me. The Ice Blast flying through as well. Paris getting low. They will be able to bring down the Spirit Breaker. Sing Sing's trying to do his best, but he's caught in the midst of everyone. There's going to be a vacuum and a wall, bringing Sing Sing and Necroman into it. Jonas and Fana is able to surge and Glimmer Cape himself away. They will lose Era here on the side of NRP, but he's got the Aegis. He's ready for round 2. They lose Silkin. Now Silkin and Minus. They turn their attention to Lim. Lim's going to back off, and now they're just going to head back looking for Era here on this Void. This is the big kill. The bashes are real from Sing Sing. Era throws, oh, he might be able to get himself out of this one. In fact, no, Sing Sing blinks forward, and with the bashes, they take down the Faceless Void. So 2 nice kills for the side of Birding United, and it's just proving to be quite difficult for NIP to break the base.
That teamfight started off with, I mean, he kind of panicked BKB'd in Sphere, in my opinion. Like, he caught the Sphere Breaker, which is okay, and he caught the Skywrath, but if you don't Chronosphere Sing, he cannot die. There is 0% chance you're killing him, unless for some reason you just turn into, like...
Oh, Hansken. This is a bold move. He's going to get charged. We'll be able to blink away. He's safe.
They're just going to get racked. Look at this attack speed. Dear Lord. Oh. They even glyph with backdoor protection.
He's going to Glimmer, but... there's going to be enough. He's surged out as well. Now Lim coming in with a Waning Rift. Maybe the side of NRP can look to re-engage. There's been a buyback from Era, who comes in straight onto Necroman. The bashes are real, and the bashes certainly holding him in place there. Now he puts the BKB in the Crimson Guard. Will be able to retreat down to the low ground. So it's been dropped onto Paris in a nice vacuum there, dragging Paris back up to the high ground. Oh, he's going to get 4-star back out and relocated out here by My Nuts. Now can NRP fight on top of this one when the IO comes back in? They've got everything apart from the wall. I was going to say the Chronosphere, but the Chronosphere is now back online. And Minus, Glimmer Capes, do they have detection? Has Limp still got that gem? Yes, he has. No, he hasn't. Who they've got the...
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. He's dead anyway.
Yeah, there was no living through that one. Another vacuum attempt here, and Come With Me. He's going to go for the forced FTP. Nice play.
Indeed, and now that they know that the IO can't buy back for this fight, so there's definitely going to be a 4v5 engagement if NIP want to push. And that looks like it may be the plan as they start to come down the mid lane.
I don't know, man. They're still fighting into Sing Sing with buyback. He's even got 6,700 gold just, casually. Just waiting it out, seeing what he wants to buy. I think he just buys bots, though. Like, he kind of needs them. If you want to really effectively rat, having level 2 bots is amazing. Like, I think... in a pub game, they're probably like the single best upgrade for late game scenario, because you can always just add +1 to a gank, Sing split pushing, or you have a Bristleback in a lane, they go on him, you teleport on top of the Bristleback. We've seen how tanky Necroman is. It can just be like a turnaround just based on that. So he actually goes back for crit, so he's consumed the Moon Shards, picks up a Crystallis.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess with the Daedalus, he really is going to be hitting and totally going in kind of all in now on this full-on damage build, realizing that, I don't know, items like a Butterfly aren't going to be that much use at this point of the game.
He just wants to make sure that during the Abyssal Blade, he can kill his target. That's more important to him than being tanky.
Oh, Hansken. Well, they're going to find him first, and he's going to certainly tank this gank as Birding United go all in. Do NIP want to try and fight into this one? Oh, no, Jonas and fans be caught up by the Abyssal Blade. They're going to find Sealgate as well as Sing Sing goes for it. He's going to blink away. Limp will find the Scythe onto Sing Sing. Dream Coil's being dropped, Ice Blast flying through, and there's your Chronosphere onto Sing Sing and Necroman. The wall's being dropped as well in the middle of it all, but Burn Unite, they're still fighting strong out of it, and Sing Sing's getting low. Can they bring down Sing Sing? Yes, they can. Sing Sing is dead. Minus will die as well here as Era time walks forward. They'll find Come With Me. They've found 3 pickoffs. They're also going to find Paris. It's only Necroman left alive here, trying to run away, but the multicast are coming through with the ding-ding-dings from Hansken, holding him in place. Necroman will finally go down as well. It's a team wipe against the side of Burden United. NIP only losing the AA here, and no one apart from Sing Sing has buyback. There was a buyback from the Ogre Magi. Sing Sing will buy back, but he's got to defend the base on his own here, Draskell. And this is going to be quite something if he's able to stop this push from NIP.
That's just a difference between the Wisp being in position to relocate to AM and him not being there. Like, if Sing dies, the fight is over. I mean, sure, Necroman's super tanky, but he's dead 5 people.
And he's TP'd away as well. He's looking to force him back.
He knows he can't defend by himself. There's no way.
Yeah. Well, Hansken's coming in to deal with the Sing Sing. Sing Sing will stay there. They're just going to go for the base. They want to go for the tier 4s here. They want to go for the game. They want to go for GG. Sing Sing will be able to find these bottom racks. Is this the play that NRP need to go for here? They're going to, keep going for these tier 4s. There's still a fair bit of time until the Spirit Breaker's up, but there's a buyback now available on Bristleback. And Sing Sing, he's going to look for a second set of racks here. Come With Me, indeed, is dead. And they found 1 tier 4. Can they find the second tier 4 here? There's buyback available on Bristleback, but Bristleback doesn't seem to want to use it here. They'll just sack this tier 4.
Sing's coming back.
And here we go. There's your buyback now for the Bristleback. NRP, they're onto the Ancient.
Sing can't heal. He's debuffed from the AA. He's at half health.
Oh, he's going in anyway. We'll get Scythed up. The wall is dropped and we'll catch out Minus, and that's a very nice Chronosphere. Era's turning up. He might be able to kill Sing Sing here. Sing Sing getting bashed up. Can they bring down Sing Sing? No, he's able to blink himself away. But the time walk forward, Era will find him. Now, Sing Sing is dead. Does not have buyback available. They might lose Necroman here as well, who did buyback for this engagement, who spots the Glimmer Cape. Minus getting bashed up by Era. Era will kill him as well. It's a triple kill for Era on this Void. Parrish charging into Era with another strike as well. They do bring down the Void. Now, Era's dead for 2 minutes. He hasn't got buyback. NIP, they lose Jonas and Fan here as well. Burden United, they're holding up, but it's just the Paris Spirit Breaker left alive. There's 4 heroes left on the side of NIP. They'll find the stuns onto Paris as he's forced back to the fountain. There's no fortification available here for the side of the Radiant. A TP's coming from Jonas and Fan. They're looking to end the game here. Burden United, they're all dead as Spirit Breaker goes down as well. And with that final fight, NIP take the game, and they're able to equalize the series 1-1 between Ninjas in Pyjamas and Burden United.
What a game. What an ending, actually. They go into the enemy woods. The Wisp was not in the vicinity to relocate Sing out, so what ends up happening is Sashka bought back for the last push that Nip did when they had Aegis. So the fact that he didn't have buyback was known. Sing probably had buyback, but if you kill the AM's entire team, it doesn't matter if he has buyback or not. You can just go down 5-man mid. So I think Nip made the right call. The AA Ice Blast was the key here in this game. Like, whenever it missed, it was a disaster. Like, the team fight was just completely lost. You saw that in the Roshan pit when they were sitting, like, to the right-hand side of the river, like, towards bottom lane. There was a 3-man sphere from Arrow, which was really nice. Ice Blast missed, got crushed, couldn't kill anyone. But then as soon as it just lands, everyone on the enemy team just explodes. So the synergy between the team fight was very important for Nip to be able to take this game. And I gotta say, I was skeptical of Era's like not farming method, but it ended up working out. It
did indeed, and that was a big Chronosphere there at the end. Enabled them to finish off the game, and that final fight. That was quite something.
It was pretty insane.
But NIP obviously looking a lot stronger in Game 2 than they were in Game 1. It's a very different side to seeing the one that we saw take the 17-1 stomp, 17-minute GG. That's a much better bit of Dota that. So obviously NRP with that victory, I believe they'll be able to keep themselves in the league, but it's still looking a bit rough for them. But we'll be able to find out more information about the standings when we head over back to our hosts straight after this quick commercial break. But myself and Draskell, we'll see you later on for the next and the second series of the day. We'll see you guys in a bit.